What is going on, world? We are live for another Hangout with the Hungarian. What is going on, guys? This is honestly I really enjoy doing this live stream, getting to hang out with you guys. So if there's anyone in the chat, let me know if you can see me. Let me know if you can hear me and everything's going well. But as you can see from the title of this video, maybe you're watching this later, maybe you're about to pop in the next little bit here. But today we're going to discuss a 40-day fast. Yeah, 40 days with no food, no calories. Now, no, I am not going to be attempting a 40-day fast, but someone right now actually is. I actually knew someone in the past who did this. Of course, you can relate it to like Jesus, but Stefan Arnio, he actually did a 40-day fast, or claimed he did a 40-day fast. Recently, he actually just passed away due to cancer. Now, some people believe that that long fast might have actually caused that issue, or coming back and having a certain diet might have caused that. But today we're actually going to discuss Connor Murphy. Connor Murphy, I actually made a video recently about him after he apparently had a mental breakdown online. Now, if you guys saw the video that I made, I believe he had more of a mental breakthrough. Now, what we found out, and I'm not going to dive into too much of this right now, but we will come into this in a sec here, is that he was actually apparently acting through all that, or at least he claims he was acting. And right now, to justify something, I don't know if he's trying to prove something, but he's doing a 40-day fast and live streaming the whole thing. So this is him live right now on 4 days of no food, no calories. So, guys, I think this is a great example of a human experiment right now. As I mentioned in the past, I don't believe Connor Murphy and some of the things he's done in the past is a great representation of what it means to be a human experiment. But this experiment on its own, live streaming the whole thing, live streaming, not eating anything for 40 days, is an impressive thing. And I think it really suits the factors that I believe justifies what a human experiment should be in the world. So he's doing some impressive things right now. I want to know, do you guys think he's going to make it a full 40 days? If you guys follow along my journey, I've done a 103-hour fast. Now, that's about 4 days and 4 hours, I believe. 4 days and something like that. I'd have to recalculate everything, but I did it. Was it last year? Yeah, in 2019. Wasn't all that bad. I felt like I could easily go to 5 days. I felt like I could easily go to 7. Now, 40 days is something completely different. If you guys don't know, right now I'm actually doing the carnivore diet, and right now I'm on day 36. I could not imagine not eating anything for all that time. So again, he's live streaming this whole thing. We're going to dive a little deeper into that in a sec here, but that's fascinating. That's very impressive. I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think he's going to make it through the full 40 days? Also, can you guys hear me good? Can you see me good? Let me know. And but we'll just keep continuing on here. And also, let me know where you guys are from in the world. We have Life Upgrade in the chat, says 40-day fest. 40-day fast. Holy cow. Yeah, that's crazy. Smokey says, damn. Silvino says, totally believe it. I'm interested to see if he can do it, honestly. Because, there's been these claims. Again, Stefan Arnio claimed that he did it, but he wasn't showing it. And a lot of the things that he's done is questionable. Ingrid R says, I'm fat enough to fast for 40 days. Not sure if Connor Murphy is. It's so difficult for lean people. That's something I question as well, too. I'm very interested if he does make it through this full 40 days, what he's going to look like after this. Because, again, as Ingrid mentioned there, he's already quite lean. And, I've heard people claim that they've done like a very, very obese person did almost like a full year of fasting. Now, he had doctors watching him. He was getting supplied with nutrients and vitamins and stuff to keep him going, and like electrolytes and stuff. But like, that's crazy. Ingrid here is from Vancouver, Canada, says she fasted for 21 days. Damn, that's crazy. See, like, that's the thing, is like, I've heard people make these claims, but like, I don't know why. I just can't believe it. Like 3 weeks without food, like, that's insane. Now, I don't know Ingrid here. She could be lying. Maybe she's telling the truth. If you're telling the truth, that's absolutely crazy. Like, I can't believe that. That's fascinating. But we actually have someone who's doing this live on YouTube. So can't wait to see how this is going to go. I'm not watching him very in a dedicated way. Again, a lot of the stuff he's just sitting there doing work, getting by. But a lot of people are watching him. He's got 214 people watching him live right now, just sitting there doing nothing. And if he makes it through all this, he apparently has to shut down the live stream every 11 hours and 55 minutes to archive it. So there is like this gap of a couple minutes, but he even showed the whole Airbnb that he's staying at, that there's no food, nothing hiding there. So I think he's justified in this. Now, again, we'll get right back to Connor Murphy in a sec here. But another thing we're going to talk about today, again, touching on the carnivore diet, where I'm at with it. We're also going to discuss the vegan debates that I put up on my YouTube channel, and also plants. So recently I just got a comment on my channel saying this here. So we're going to dive into this right now. Someone said here that plants have more fiber and carbs and weak form of vitamin. Meat organs have complete protein, fat, and stronger form of vitamin. Someone said wrong. Someone said all plants contain all essential amino acids in differing amounts. And then this is the thing I want to discuss here. So Smoke Me a Kipper says, weak form of vitamins, but yet they build the biggest, strongest animals on the planet. Just because these big, strong animals eat plants, we should too, because it's the same. Now, this is where, again, if you guys have seen on some of my recent videos, I made a video called a live stream the other day. It's just going to load up here in one sec, called like Vegans Are Delusional. And I just discussed how like what I see is that there's a lot of delusion or ignorance in the debate around veganism. And again, I really don't care how you eat or what you eat, but recently, ever since I started up the carnivore diet, again, I'm 36 days into this now, I've been losing subscribers like crazy. This is a very emotional thing for people. People really identify with their diet, especially when they believe it's causing less harm or not murdering animals out there in the world. Now, again, this is why I've started the vegan debates, because I truly do not believe that a vegan diet is healthier or more ethical than eating meat. If you are getting meat sourced locally from regenerative farming, from local farming sources, and they're grass-fed, it's comparable to the mass agriculture that's going on in the world that is causing death to billions of animals in the process and cultivation of that. So this is a big debate. I think there's lots to discuss here, lots to unravel. And as I just showed here, someone left a comment. Smoke Me a Kipper says, weak form of vitamins, but yet they build the biggest, strongest animals on the planet. And this is where, like, again, I think this comes from a place of ignorance, because you're just assuming that we can eat the same types of things. So, again, this is a regular question that comes up when we're debating the vegan diet. Now, one thing I do want to show here, again, I left a rebuttal, but I put it into my little notepad here. So what I said is, like, this is a quote from page 141 of Leary Keith's book, The Vegetarian Myth. Gorillas are vegetarians, and they have both the smallest brains and the largest digestive tracts of any primate. We are the opposite. Now, if we really look at gorillas, what we find are animals that contain the fermentative bacteria necessary to digest cellulose. We humans don't have that same fermentative bacteria. So when we ingest grass, we don't have a way to break it down. Yet these big, strong animals do. So diving deeper, and this is where we can actually pull up this link here. So this is from UC Davis, a university in California. And this is where they dive really deep into it. And this is what I believe is the big problem with a lot of people who, they hop on this diet without looking into the information about it. So if we scroll down just a little bit here, the difference lies in the digestion. The human digestive process and the way we absorb nutrients makes us diametrically opposed to a true herbivore. In fact, comparing the two is like comparing an apple to an orange. Humans are omnivores and monogastrics. We have one stomach. Digestion is primarily enzymatic, which simply means that we employ enzymes to break down food into simple compounds that can either be absorbed as nutrients or eliminated from the body. Now, I'll include this link into the chat here in a sec if you guys are really interested in diving deeper into all this stuff. But let's just skip right down to, what about elephants and gorillas? So this is debating the guy's topic here. Weak form of vitamins, yet they build the biggest, strongest animals on the planet. Other so-called vegans like elephants and gorillas eat a mostly vegetarian diet, and they're often held up as an example of what the human diet can be. These are beautiful, powerful creatures, and it's tempting to use them as a symbol of plant-eating strength, but they bear little resemblance to us when it comes to eating or digesting. Let's take a closer look. So elephants eat about 375 pounds of vegetation every day, including twigs and tree bark, small bushes and roots, grasses and fruits. Tree bark is a staple in the elephant's diet because it aids in digestion. Gorillas eat about 40 pounds a day, and they are more selective in their foraging. They eat only particular parts of the plants they consume. They might eat only the root, the leaves, or the stalk of a given plant. Most of the gorilla's diet is plant-based, but depending on the subspecies, they might also consume a small percentage of insects, grubs, and snails. While gorillas are a close cousin of humans with 98.25% genetic similarity, we have different physiology, from the anatomy of our brains to the complexity of our digestive systems. We have a completely different digestive system, and herbivores have an enzyme, they have bacteria that allows them to ferment the plants and the cellulose in their stomachs. And what's actually happening, so when you think of a cow has 4 stomachs. And what a cow's doing, it's ingesting the grass and breaking it down. But more or less what's happening is it's giving that grass in its own stomachs to these microbes that are breaking it down. And then it's eating the microbes or digesting the microbes for sustenance. So it's really not getting sustenance from the grass that it's eating. And this is the big debate as well, too, because a lot of people are all about when we get into the debate about, well, you know, factory farming and cows need so much grain. Cows and ruminant type animals, so goats, sheep, all those types of animals that eat grass aren't supposed to be eating grain. They're only supposed to be eating grass. We're forcing them to eat grain. We're growing this very extremely cheap crop and forcing it to them, which causes them to grow a lot faster than they normally do. So this is some stuff from the vegetarian myth. I'm getting a lot of great information from it. I wish I had the book down here with me. I kind of forgot to grab it today, but I really suggest even if you are vegan or you're plant-based, I think you need to read this. But even if you have a plant-based, like just a balanced diet, you need to read this book because it's going to change your mind on a lot of things. It's going to break down a lot of the propagated things you know and understand. So now grass is not a commodity. It can't be easily stored, shipped, standardized, and traded. It, like sunlight and rain, it cannot lead to the condensation of power. Grass farmers need few, if any, fertilizers, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, fossil fuels. They aren't an industry. They are actually just farmers who are engaged in work that requires a skill and not an instruction manual. Grass can't be turned into the hyper-processed cheap junk that fills our grocery stores. It can only be passed through a ruminant, so it can only go through a cow, it can only go through a goat or a sheep, and then turn it into food for us to sustain ourselves. So the big problem is the agricultural system. And it's these 4, 5, 6 corporations that own all the grain in the world, that trade all their grain. And they're trying to make it a big monopoly so that they just control everything. But most of the world is grass. Most of the world and the things that we can't eat as human beings can be eaten by these animals. And this is how we create a sustainable agriculture, a sustainable farming, how we do regenerative farming. Because we have the cows who go through and eat the grass. And then when we're growing plants and stuff, we have the chickens come in that eat all the insects. We eat those animals. And then we grow plants on the soil that they all poop on and cause manure for. And it's one big cycle. We are part of the cycle of life and we are part of the cycle of death. The only big problem is when we think we are bigger and better than it. When we see ourselves as higher than this cycle of life, when we say, we draw a line in the sand and we say, you know what? I'm going to eat only this type of life, which is plants, because plants have a form of sentience. It's very different from ours. When you put a plant next to an animal, it's very easy. I can see people's justification and saying like, okay, I'm going to take the life of this thing rather than the life of this thing. But in the grand scheme of things, when we're trying to feed millions of people, that's when different ethics come in, because to sustain that agriculture, to feed all those people, that's when things get out of hand. That's when we're having to cause irrigation. That's when we're destroying the soil. We need a big cycle. We need a big system. But when we draw a line in the sand and say, okay, I'm only going to eat this thing, you're supporting the system that's bringing that thing to your plate and to your table. You're saying, I am higher than this cycle of life, which includes death. And I'm more superior than it. And I get to have a choice. I'm saying, I'm only going to do this thing. Whereas we need animals as a part of that cycle. So on page 113 of the Vegetarian Myth, she says, we feed corn to cows because corn is impossibly cheap, and feeding it to cows makes them grow fast, much faster than their native diet. A grain-fed steer reaches market weight in 9 to 12 months instead of 2 years. So when we feed grain to cows, they reach market in almost a third of the time, or in 2/3 of the time, sorry. When we have chickens that we put in the cages rather than chickens just running around, they reach adulthood in 6 weeks, and we feed them grain. They reach adulthood in 6 weeks rather than 5 months that it used to take in 1935. A good milk cow in 1940 gave 4,500 pounds of milk a year, but on grain, a milk cow and a dairy cow can produce an excess of 20,000 pounds. So it's the system, it's the profit and greed. Our food system, this is now getting into like socialism and stuff, but I don't think our food system should be run by capitalism, because this is what happens. We go for the profit. We go for the bottom dollar. We start cutting out the humans. We start cutting out the animals and the health of them. We start not caring for the land. And it's gotten to a crazy place. So that's just what I wanted to say to this guy's comment here, saying like, plants have weak form of vitamins, but they build the biggest, strongest animals on the planet. They build the biggest, strongest animals on the planet because they have a bacteria inside of them that can ferment the cellulose, where we as humans don't. So again, I think this person is coming from a place of ignorance. Now, when I say ignorance or delusion, I'm not trying to be rude with that. It's not meant to be disrespectful. Ignorance is just not understanding a subject. Delusion is just having a conflict with reality. It doesn't mean you have a mental illness. It doesn't mean something horrible. When I call someone a bigot, that just means they're not respectful of other people's views and perspectives in the world. These words have lost their that have become convoluted over time. So when someone goes, "You're ignorant," they mean it in a disrespectful way. But I'm trying to say, like, you're just coming from a place of ignorance because you don't understand this information. Now, if this, Smoke Me a Kipper, if he was presented this information, which I left on the comment, he hasn't responded yet. But now that he is aware of this information, maybe he'll think differently on this subject, or her. I'm not sure if it's a guy or girl. Not trying to pick genders there or pronouns. But in general, this is why I say, people are ignorant. Now, if he understands this, if he understands that gorillas and elephants have a fermented bacteria within them, but still says this kind of stuff, then it's coming from a place of delusion, because he understands this stuff, he understands reality, and he has a conflict with it, but he's still sticking to his belief over the facts. So this is where, in my vegan debates, I'm coming from, is that I believe a lot of people either don't have the information, so they're ignorant, or they're coming from a place of delusion because they have it, they have the information, but they're so deluded in their own beliefs, like Leary Keith, the 20-year vegan that I'm reading right now. She admits that even after she had the information, she continued her vegan diet until 3 or 4 years later. She realized that she was being delusional and that she needed to change because she understood the information. So there we have it, guys. Like, that's what I wanted to say there on that. But now let's get back to Connor Murphy's 40-day fast. Like, this is absolutely insane. I cannot believe this. So we got Nelson Oliveira says 40 days will be very difficult with low body fat. I agree. And I'm just hoping enough people are watching this and staying on point with this, because I am not able to watch to make sure this guy is not eating. Now, every time I've checked up on him over the last 4 days, he does have anywhere from 200 to 500 people watching. So as long as he's being truthful and he's live streaming this whole thing, I'm very interested to see what happens. I'm very interested to see the kind of transformation that happens. I think he's going to lose a lot of muscle. He's going to lose a lot of fat as well, too. He's going to lose fat until like his fat reserves are very low. Then I'm interested to see what kind of muscle loss he's gone through. Because if we check out his channel here, like that's what his whole channel was before this, was him flexing on camera and doing all this stuff. Now, if you guys saw, like, here's his whole channel, basically. Him just with his shirt off and flexing on Omegle. Now, if you guys saw recently, I did come out with a video, I think it's in the description box below there, but where, you know, he was discussing, like, he came out with these videos and, you know, he was like crying on it, but some people were saying, like, he doesn't have any tears, this isn't real. And he said in the beginning, he's like, this is all an act. And then kind of went through it. He got arrested, apparently, and then put in a psychiatric ward for 2 weeks. Now, before I knew this, I said, you know, is he having a mental breakdown or a breakthrough? Now that he's come out of the psychiatric ward, he made all these very spiritual videos leading up to this 40-day fast. So I don't think he's trying to pretend he's Jesus, but I think he truly believes, and I think he has the power to do it. He has a big following, and him going from very egotistical and, as I said here, like enlightened or egomaniac, because I believe the types of content that he was putting out before this was the form of what an egomaniac was and is. Or was he truly and is truly enlightened? Because here, I'm being as open and honest and truthful as I can be on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to share everything openly and honestly and have no filter, so you guys know you can trust everything. Now, I think Connor knew how to game the system. If I wanted to try to game the system, which maybe next year I'll even try doing as an experiment, where I'll hold back how I truthfully and openly honestly feel. I've done it enough now for 6 years that it's time to game the system. It's time to get a lot of attention, if that might be an experiment I want to do. But he knew how to game the system. He knew how to get millions of followers. He knew how to get millions of views, and he did it. And maybe along that journey, he did become enlightened. He did go on an ayahuasca retreat. Maybe he did learn and see that, like, look, I'm kind of done with this life. And I want to do something different. And I want to try to turn other people into what I have now seen. Now, a lot of people think he's still crazy. They think he kind of rushed into making content after, you know, leaving the psychiatric ward. I question if he is being very truthful and saying that, like, look, I did this on purpose because he's trying to mimic Jesus. Everyone thought I died. I went in in hiding for a while, came out, like the doctors, similar to the soldiers with Jesus, crucified him basically. And then he became resurrected. And now he's doing this 40-day fast. So I truly think that, you know, he had a breakthrough. Now, I think he had a breakthrough, now that I've seen more, well before he made this goodbye video. I think he had a breakthrough probably at least 6 months before that, and realized, like, this life that I've created for myself, where I have to appease people to get views, where I have to make the same content, I can't be open and honest because this is the niche I've buried myself into, that he's starting to hate it. And that's why he's done a complete 180 in regards to his content. Now, the more I watch him, the more I see him, I question if he's made a 180 so drastically in his personal life. I think he probably made that 180 switch slowly over time and realized, like, look, I just got to change my content here. I got to do this completely differently. Now, this is why I stayed true to myself from the beginning. I told myself I was always going to be open and honest here on my YouTube channel because I did not want to. I always wanted to be open and honest. I wanted to be able to change. I didn't want to lock myself into a niche. I saw when I started YouTube that this is going to be a marathon for me. I'm just getting started. I'm still documenting my life. I'm not even creating content yet. Very soon, and I've realized soon, like, it's even still too soon for me to do this, but the human experiments is something that I can't wait to launch and bring to the world and bring into fruition. But it's still too early. I need to keep documenting. I need to actually get more attention before I do the human experiments. So what I realized early on is, like, you know, I started doing intermittent fasting and stomach vacuums, and it got me millions of views and lots of people following me. I got 10,000 subscribers in my first couple months on YouTube. And my one stomach vacuum video that I finished at my first year of YouTube is almost at 2 million views right now. Nothing like Connor Murphy's views and subscribers. But I realized, like, look, I can just continue to be the stomach vacuum guy and only do stomach vacuum stuff to appease other people, or I can continue to experiment and change and not care what people think. And I'm truly glad I stuck to that because I get to see how people react. I get to see the changes and the flows when people are very engaged with certain content and not. Again, I mentioned in my last live stream my neurohacking experiments where I got brain scans done before and brain scans done after a 3-month experiment where I experimented heavily with meditation, nootropics, doing brain scans, a bunch of this stuff. You guys can go see it here in my playlists. Where is it here? Neurohacking. The neurohacking experiments. I was like, this might get a lot of attention or it might not. It didn't do good in regards to views at all, but there was a clear change in my brain scan results. You can see a clear change in my brain. And I'm glad I did this. And someone who's trying to game the YouTube system would have given up on this after a few videos when they realized their subscribers weren't enjoying it. Now, I'm glad I didn't because I got to prove so much with that. Now, a lot of people didn't see it, but it's there. And as long as my YouTube channel doesn't get deleted or the world doesn't end, this is always there to prove that I was able to change my neural pathways in my brain. And that's fascinating to me. So this is why I'm glad I stayed truthful and open and honest along my journey. And I think that's where Connor Murphy's getting at right now, where he's realizing, look, I got to prove myself. But along with this, I think he caused a lot of egoic tendencies in a lot of men out there in the world. There are a lot of dudes who just try to mimic Connor Murphy's content, and they probably do well because of it. They just go out in public and start flexing their abs and try to talk to girls with their shirts off and stuff, which is like, great, go do it. Like, I don't care what you guys do, honestly. But I think he realized along his own journey that he caused a lot of egoic tendencies in other people. And if he wants to truly be the change, if he wants to see change in the world, he needs to represent that change. So that's what I feel about Connor Murphy and his current 40-day fast, because this is going to get a lot of attention. Right now, there's 251 people in this chat, but wait till he's at day 20. Wait if he can make it to day 30, to day 35, to day 40. Like, he's going to have the world watching this. There's going to be a lot of people being like, holy shit, this guy's doing what Jesus did. And that's going to get a lot of attention. That's going to get a lot of people worked up. And I think he's a very smart guy. He knew how to get millions of views in the past. So I think he knows exactly what he's doing right now. To some people, he seems a little crazy. He seems a little out there. Again, I think he's just being himself. He's just being raw, real, open, and honest right now. Whereas the last bunch of years, he couldn't be. So props to you, Connor. I think this is great. I hope you do well on this. I hope you don't hurt yourself. I wish you the best along this journey. And I'm going to be checking in on you, brother. This is fascinating. And as I said before, this is what it means to be a human experiment. Before a lot of his content, I don't think it was. But he's truly representing what it means to be a human experiment in this world. So, Connor, I give you props, brother. I truly give you props. We got Michelle in the chat. What's up, Michelle? So shout out to Michelle. She was actually the first one that got some Hungarian experiment merch. So shout out to Michelle. If you guys are interested, we actually have merch in right now. So go check in the description box below. We got some Hungarian experiment merch. We're just going to see what Michelle says here real quick. And then we'll actually get into my logo and where this all kind of came from. Michelle says, you think he's going to really do 40 days? 40 days is a whole lot. I'm fascinated to see. That's definitely what's interesting about it, because like I have no idea. I don't know if it's possible. Now, again, I know Stefan Arnio, who recently just passed away due to cancer. He actually claims he did a 40-day fast twice. Now, I actually met Stefan Arnio. We talked a bunch, and there was some stuff where he was saying things where he was also mentioning he was eating fruit sometimes. So there was no way to prove he did it. He made a lot of claims, and I trust what Stefan Arnio said on many things, but there were also some things where I heavily questioned what he would say. I read his book, which also seemed to contradict in certain places things that he's talked about on stage. So did Stefan Arnio do a 40-day fast? I have no idea. Is Connor Murphy doing a 40-day fast? He's going to attempt it, and he's live streaming the whole thing. So I'm fascinated to watch. And the only time he's going to stop the live stream is 3 times a day, where, you know, you can only stream on YouTube for 11 hours and 55 minutes before the stream just stops. So he wants to archive and keep everything. So he has to stop the stream for about a minute. Now, he could quickly hide and try to get some food in his system. But if you guys go check out his channel, he even showed before, like he showed the whole Airbnb where he's staying at, that there's no food hiding. He opened up every fucking cupboard. He opened up the fridge, the freezer, and he showed everything. I think he had some ice cream in the freezer that the Airbnb host left for them, but he threw it in the garbage. And again, I'm not watching every single minute of his stream. I'm checking in a couple of times a day just to see how he's doing. Right now, he's at day 4, which is as far as I've gone with the fast. I'm going to attempt 5 days and 7 days probably next year after I'm done the carnivore and vegan experiment. But I've heard, we had Ingrid here in the chat who said she did 21. Again, like Stefan Arnio, I don't know if I can 100% believe it. I'm the kind of person where I have to see it to believe it. I give props to people who make the claims because it's like, damn, that's impressive. If you did do it 100%, like that's amazing. But I can't 100, like aliens. Do aliens exist? We can talk about it. We can make guesses that, the American government put out some videos, but is that true? Like, until I see an alien, I don't know. Until I see someone do a 40-day fast like Connor's doing right now, I don't know if he's going to make it. I'm not doubting him, but I'm very interested to see. So real quick, before we get into some other people's comments and a couple other things I wanted to talk about here quick, is this logo. So HE. So I've had some people reach out and be like, yo, where'd you get this? How did you do this? So I made a commitment at the beginning of my YouTube channel. Some of my first few videos, I said, if I get 1,000 subscribers in my first year on YouTube, I will get HE tattooed somewhere on my body. Now, I actually hit 1,000 subscribers, I think, on like month 4 or 5. So I went to the tattoo shop and I said, like, look, I got to get HE tattooed on me. I want it kind of grungy looking. Like, I want to look like someone scratched it into my body. So this is what the tattooist did. Just a little HE right there. And I love the way it turned out. So I actually took a picture of it, and I had a fan on the first year. And I said, like, hey, can you help me make this into a logo? And they made it into a logo, and now it's on a shirt. So if you guys want a shirt or sweater, go check out the link in the description box below there, because we have merch now. I showed in my last live stream. I have the I microdose mushrooms. Let me see if I can actually pull it up here. Yeah, there we go. There's a couple pieces there that you guys can get if you want. And again, this just helps support my journey, helps support my path. Again, shout out to Michelle because she got some of this. I'm still waiting to see a picture from you. I can't wait to see it, and I'll share it on Instagram and stuff if you're down for it. But here, you can get the I microdose mushrooms and the stigma behind psilocybin use. You can get the HE, or you can get the emotionally invincible with the crazy ass looking pelican bird there. Again, I'm down to make some more merch, but I want to see that if you guys are interested in this stuff or not. I'm not going to make a bunch if you guys aren't interested and you guys don't want any of it. So if you guys want to support me in my path and my journey, check those out. Give me some ideas for some other stuff, and we'll make some other merch. But yeah, guys, what do you think about Connor Murphy, 40 days fasting? I think that's nuts. Kind of like Joe Rogan. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm willing to try and do, but I don't want to go to the complete extent. So I'm glad there's someone today who's going to actually live stream this, because again, I think it's a great example of a human experiment. So today's not going to be an extremely long live stream. We got some stuff going on upstairs that I want to get to today. We're doing another impact theory night, and tonight is actually going to be on psychedelics. So I'm excited to share that with the team and even share some of my own experiences with psychedelics, because I know a lot of the clique is interested in my experiences with it. So we're going to get to do some serious chats tonight. But today, I'm actually on day 36 of the carnivore diet. For the last 36 days, I've only been eating meat or animal products, no vegetables, no carbohydrates besides, I'll tell you this in a sec here, no coffee, because coffee is technically a bean. I haven't even been putting pepper on stuff, because pepper is technically a seed. All I've been having is salt, water, meat, bone broth, eggs, bacon, and that's basically it. Now, over the last 6 days, I've actually started to introduce cheese and dairy into my diet. So I've been having some local cheese. I went out to my local farmers market. This will be coming up in an upcoming video, a full day-to-day video where I show you guys me eating cheese for the first time. Now, if you guys remember, I was having some issues with the pooping. Now, I didn't feel like I was stuffed up and congested or constipated or anything, but on the carnivore diet for the first, I'd say like 3 weeks, I was pooping every like third to fourth day, which is a little concerning. But again, I didn't have any kind of negative issues. I wasn't stuffed up. I wasn't feeling crappy at all. But ever since I started introducing dairy into my diet, I've been pooping every day now. No problems at all. Another thing as well too is I started introducing in my diet is local honey. So local unpasteurized honey. So I started that 5 days ago when I went to the farmer's market. I got apple honey, berry honey, and then like a bitter honey. And the only reason it's like apple or berry is because that's apparently what the bees were pollinating that produced the honey. So that's in 30 days, 31 days. This was my first type of carbs that I got in my system. And if you guys are interested, coming up in a video, I actually show me working out on carbs for the first time in 30 days. Give you guys a little bit of a teaser. I hit a little bit of a wall. Like once I felt like I kind of burned up the carbs from the honey, but then, and that was just on the first day I introduced honey into my diet. But after I pushed through that wall, I was doing a bunch of deadlifts. I just pushed through. I was like, fuck it, I'm not stopping. I'm just going to keep going, even if I do feel like not the best right now. But pushed through that and I started feeling great again. Now I've been introducing honey. Like I'll just take the jar and have like 3 or 4 teaspoons of it. And I definitely feel like an increase and a boost from it. I had some like an hour or two ago and feel really great. It almost puts me in a bit of a jittery state because I'm like, holy shit, like this is definitely like, it's like having like a Red Bull almost. It's kind of crazy. But now that I feel like I've been doing it for the last 4 or 5 days straight now, it's just something that I'm adding in. I'm not hitting like a wall anymore during my workouts. So I'm going to keep experimenting with the honey for probably another week or two for sure. Then I'm going to take a bit of a break from it just to see what that's like. But really enjoying it. Like now I have a little bit of variety to my diet. I'm not just eating eggs and bacon and meat every day. Like some days I'll have eggs and bacon and like dairy and have some beef and have some honey. Like being able to change things up a bit is nice, even though I'm really not getting sick of the meat or anything. So wanted to give you guys a little update on that. Again, I'll be showing in videos where I'm documenting my day, but that's something coming up. And then the last thing I just wanted to discuss here, if anyone wants to mention anything, has any questions, feel free to throw it in the chat down below. We got William V in the chat says, sup bros. We got Big Bro Gramer says, unless he tries to cheat. Yeah, again, that's the only thing. So let's go see what he's doing right now. He's just still sitting there. He's been sitting there for the last hour on his computer. Look how he's watching shit, eh? That's like how I watch stuff on my laptop. Or if like maybe he's editing a video right now. I don't know what he's doing, but like this is me basically every day. This is my face in front of a laptop. Or I'm working out or we're shooting videos and stuff. But that's basically like I heavily resonate with Connor after seeing some of just his days over the last 4 days here. But again, apparently he showed it. He's live streaming the whole thing. Hopefully he doesn't cheat. Hopefully he's true and open and honest, and we'll see if he is being. Like the only thing I can think of is like if he orders food, because he kind of showed that the whole place has nothing in it. Like it's just empty, the whole Airbnb. Unless he's like hid something really well and he's like sneaking it in. So that guy's in the chat says, hey, bro, respects. That guy said, so the honey has pulled you out of ketosis. How's your mental alertness? Spikes, fluctuations in energy. So again, I kind of mentioned my energy levels there. Like I feel like a boost when I'm on it for about an hour or so, and then it kind of fades away. Something that I could share here with you guys is check out the Carnivore MD on Instagram. We're going to see if we can find this together here right now. But he actually put out something recently where he was talking. He wore a glucose monitor on his arm for like a week or two. And he showed his levels in regards to glucose. So I think it's this one here, the critical connection between sleep and blood glucose. Here, eating honey. So I'm going to mute this, but guys, go check this out. What my blood sugars look like on honey. And so what we can see here, where was it? So again, you'll have to check this out for yourself, but like he just kind of says like he shows when his glucose spiked up and then when it dropped down and how it returned to normal levels. Now, it honey apparently doesn't spike your insulin level in a crazy way versus again, I'd have to rewatch this video just to be a little better on what he's discussing here, but then he compared it to someone else's diet who has like potatoes and stuff, and so for their breakfast, again, it's a little fuzzy here, I can't see, but you can see like their spike went up and it lasted a lot longer and it was a little higher, and it even spiked later on as well too. So that's what's interesting, is that like I feel the same. Maybe it is placebo now that I'm aware of what he discussed there. But what I've noticed is that like when I eat the honey, I feel like a spike in my energy, and then an hour or so later that spike fades away, but my overall energy doesn't like hit a lull. Versus if you guys saw recently, like before I started the carnivore diet, I mentioned how I ate, like I would get these bagels from Great Canadian Bagel. And after I would eat, like I would fast and break my fast with them. And then after, I felt like a drop in my energy levels. So I felt like I kind of went down in regards to energy. Whereas I just kind of returned to normal base. And then I can go a couple hours and I have some more honey and then I kind of spike up again. So that's all I could really say. Again, I'm only on day 5 of the honey. But I do feel like a spike in my energy levels and just a bit of jittery nature where I feel like I'm almost not fully on point, where I'm almost in hyperdrive, where like I'm talking faster. What the fuck is a bagel? How do you say it? A boggle? A boggle? It's a bagel. Like those round things. It's not a donut, but it's bread. But yeah, I've seen like I don't know, it's almost like too much energy sometimes. Now, the one time where I did take, I think, too much, it was like, whoa, but nothing too crazy. But it is interesting that now that, as you know, you mentioned there, that guy, that I've been in ketosis for 30 days, and now I'm starting to introduce carbs back into my system, and seeing the kind of changes. And my goal is to try to work out on them, like after an hour of ingesting, just to see how it's affecting my workouts right now as well, too. So nothing crazy. Like I'm not lifting a lot more or doing anything more, but it is interesting. I'm definitely noticing a change in my cognitive function, not so much in my physical abilities though. But I believe that's what we have there. Cymatics of Divinity says, I understand fucking with you. I thought so. That's awesome. What the fuck is a bag L? All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for another Hangout with the Hungarian, discussing Connor Murphy's 40-day fast. Again, I think this is fascinating. Go check him out, guys. Pop in there every once in a while. Show him some support. Show him some love. Again, I think he had a breakthrough in life. And again, I don't think it happened with his goodbye video. I don't think it happened with the ayahuasca, if that's what he did do. I don't think he's even straight up admitted it. If anyone can show me a video where he's straight up admitted that he's done ayahuasca or some psychedelics, I'd be interested to see, because I think it's just a lot of people drawing conclusions, or they're saying that he admitted it on Instagram. Again, I'm not too sure. I'd love to see that video or the content where he's actually like claiming that he did it. But I think he had a breakthrough and has been having a breakthrough for a while. He's a smart guy. He knew how to game the YouTube system. He did it. He got tons of millions of followers, but it wasn't it didn't feel good. He just got it for like his ego and for his body. And here he's actually potentially going to change the world. He's going to do some real good with the things that he's saying and the things that he's doing. And he's talking a lot about spiritual stuff recently. So again, props to you, Connor. I wish you the best. I hope you don't hurt yourself. I hope you don't, suffer during this 40-day fast just to try to prove something. And I wish you the best on it, man. I think it's absolutely amazing. But thank you guys so much for being here with me for the Hangout with the Hungarian live. If you guys are interested in some merch, go check them out in the description box below. If not, I just really appreciate having you guys along my journey, along my path. What do you guys think? Should I start trying to game the YouTube system next year? Should I start like trying to pull some Connor Murphy stuff? I'm not obviously going to go out there and just flex my abs and stuff, but this is the plan with the human experiments, is that I think you guys like a lot of drama. People like drama. And whenever, like, the video I made about Connor Murphy got a lot of views. So I still want to stay true to myself and be open and honest, but that's the whole point of the human experiments as well too, is to not take advantage of other people's followings, but create that kind of drama between why someone's a human experiment or why not, and give them low and high ratings. But along with that too, maybe I'll do some experiments. Maybe I should do an experiment of like how to get viral on YouTube, and do a 180 like Connor did. And maybe I should act for a little bit. Maybe I should act for 6 months just to show that I know how to game the YouTube system and I know what people really want. They want someone not to be open and honest and truthful. And I can show how the last 6 years, it got me 40,000 subscribers. It got me some views, but in general, like, it didn't do what I think a lot of the ego type stuff did, like what Connor Murphy's older content did in regards to being able to pull in an audience. Because I think it's very doable. I think I could easily game the system in a unique way. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. I guess we'll see where the future takes things. But once again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate having you guys on my path. I truly, truly appreciate having you guys on my journey. Thank you so much for watching. I am the Hungarian Experiment. See you guys in the next one.